The Commerce Department says gross domestic product rose at an annual rate of 1.1%. Home prices continue to climb. The S&P Case-Shiller Home Price Index shows they rose 5% in the 12 months ending in April. Lending Club announcing it's cutting 12% of its workforce because of a decrease in loan applications. The company also appointing a new CEO today. Scott Sanborn will take the reins. Also slashing its workforce, Dow Chemical is part of the Dow Corning deal. Chris Maurer, CNBC Business Radio.
A Napa guy knows not to judge a man by his car's multicolored paint job or absence of modern gadgetry. Who cares if it's technically old enough to vote and the windows are powered by the strength of your left arm? Your monthly payment is zero, and it'll stay that way. Because with over 400,000 parts and a little Napa know-how, you can keep anything on the road. She may not be pretty, but she's all yours. That's Napa know-how.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems. Listen carefully. If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, U.S. Tax Shield can help you take back control. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Our team of tax attorneys can stop collections and get you protected. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the BBB, so call 800-466-9625. U.S. Tax Shield, 800-466-9625.
KCAA.
If you're booking a cruise out of Galveston, we suggest you add a few days to your vacation and rent a Galveston Island beachfront home. Our fully furnished homes are equipped with central air, washer dryers, dishwashers, cable, wireless internet, and unlimited telephone service. Step off the lower deck of your beachfront vacation home and walk 50 feet to the tide line, where you can fish for speckled trout, redfish, and whiting. Watch the pelicans, and they'll show you where to cast your line. Enjoy horseback riding on the beach, jet skiing, deep sea fishing, dolphin tours, Schlitterbahn Water Park, and the famous Moody Gardens. Tour historical homes, art galleries, and antique shops, and enjoy Galveston's nightlife with award-winning restaurants and live music from jazz to rock and roll. Our homes rent for less than hotel rooms on a per-occupant basis. Call 832-452-0528 or visit our website, www.texasbeachfrontvacations.com.
Good afternoon. It is 1:03. I'm Di Rice with the very latest in live, local, national, and international news here on KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM. A Turkish official says at least 10 people are dead after an attack at Ataturk Airport in Istanbul. At least 40 people are wounded after explosions and gunfire at Istanbul's Ataturk Airport. A Turkish official says 2 suicide bombers struck before passing through the X-ray security check. Ataturk is the 3rd largest airport in Europe. And in other news, Donald Trump appears to be softening his stance on Muslim immigrants. The likely GOP nominee is reportedly moving away from a blanket ban on Muslims and will focus on restricting immigration from countries linked to terrorism. Trump's apparent pivot on the subject began to emerge after the recent Orlando nightclub massacre, when he called for a ban on immigration from places where there's proven history of terrorism. And stocks are now higher for the first time since Britain voted to leave the European Union. After 2 days of sharp declines following the Brexit vote, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was around 150 points in midday trading. And here at home, after more than 3 years of allowing rave-style events at San Manuel Amphitheater in Devore, the San Bernardino County Board of Supervisors today will consider a ban on the events. Supervisor Janice Rutherford is proposing the county terminate its contract with Live Nation, given numerous complaints of noise by area residents, some living as far away as Crestline. Residents have also complained of trespassing on private property, public intoxication, and lewd conduct. Canceling the contract with Live Nation will impact the county financially. It receives $1.4 million in rent for the venue, or 7.75% of the net ticket sales, whichever is greater. And Live Nation also leases additional space at Glen Helen Regional Park for camping during the electronic dance show event. Additionally, it could hurt the county's negotiations with the concert promoter to manage the amphitheater, which is the largest outdoor amphitheater in the contiguous U.S. Inland Empire weather. Expect some showers possibly this afternoon. You may have already experienced some sprinkles here and there. Today's high still very warm, 99. Currently we are at 97 degrees. Going to drop down to only 70 overnight, and sunny and hot tomorrow with a high of 98. Checking out your drive, stop and go. 60 westbound between the 15 and Vineyard. The 10 west is busy in pockets between Euclid and Ramona. And the 71 north is busy from the 60 to Mission Inn. And that is very latest with news, weather, and traffic on the station that leaves no listener behind. KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM.
Broadcasting more local radio programs than any other station in California. We are KCAA.
Welcome to Smart Health Talk with your host, Elaine McFadden.
Take a walk on the wild side. Will the birds and the bees survive? Right before me, my newfound hippie side. Once ignored these conspiracies online. Out the window, visions of the earth. Sign me up now, make sure you use your smart. Take a walk on the wild side. Will the birds and
You can go to it. Okay, just go. It's okay, just go.
Welcome to Smart Health Talk with your host, Elaine McFadden.
Hey everyone, welcome to Smart Health Talk Radio Show, and I am your host, Elaine McFadden, and I'm a registered dietitian with a master's in public health, so I'm your own personal dietitian for the day, and our goal right here on Smart Health Talk is for you to get more nutrition bang for your buck. That's right, and not only that, when you do get more nutrition bang for your buck, guess what happens? You actually get to be healthier and maybe even a little bit slimmer and a little bit more kick in your step there as you have more energy during the day. And I'm just wondering how many of you out there that I'm listening to are feeling some of those things that I just mentioned right there. Maybe you don't quite have the energy that you were wanting, and considering the new numbers that just came out with women alone being at 40% obese, I'm sure that I'm talking to someone out there that'd like to lose a few pounds, and you know what? That's my expertise. And there's a lot of factors that are influencing how we look and how we feel nowadays. And there's just so many things coming at us. There have been so many changes with our food system. There is no possible way that you could actually know all that's going on. And one of the things that hinders you from knowing the truth is mainstream media isn't talking about what we talk about here on Smart Health Talk. They're usually a couple of years behind us, and it just amazes me how I start to hear things on television, and it's just like, you know, we were talking about that like way back. I'm glad they're finally getting around to it. But, you know, in the meantime, you missed out on the good info that we provide right here on Smart Health Talk. And, you know, some of it's fun, some of it's pretty, and some of it's not so pretty. And I got some pretty nice products sitting right here next to me, some organic products that I have personally tried myself and taste tested and met my Elaine McFadden Smart Health Talk approval. And if you go and join me on social media, you find that I provide a lot of information on social media for you just like that. I have my hashtag Smart Health Talk, Smart Health Talk Top Pick, Smart Health Talk Warning. Smart Health Talk tip. So, and also Smart Health Talk recipes. So I have a lot of hashtags, about 5 of them there, that if you just put my hashtag in, I bet you could find all kinds of my tweets right there on Twitter, because I have tweeted a lot of tweets, okay? And if you go join me on Pinterest, I've got like something like 45,000 pins. Yeah, 45,000. So I have about 100 boards and about 45,000 pins. And pretty much all those have to do with helping you save money, recycle. It's all kinds of things to do with the environment, what kind of food that you should be eating, gardening tips, how to lose weight, weight loss meals, specialty diets, all kinds of specialty diets, cover that. And some of the really big things that are happening in the news that I told you about earlier that maybe you're not hearing on mainstream, but you're definitely going to hear it here on Smart Health Talk, because I am going to make sure you are an informed consumer. Because that's what we need in this country. We need people that are informed and not just little robots going around doing what TV tells us to do. Because most of the time, it is not for real. Now, I have a couple of good examples for you. Because so many people out there that I talk to, they just really trust their government. Boy, they trust their government. They trust these corporations. And I'm here to tell you that's a big mistake. You should not be trusting anything, especially when it comes to your health and the health of your family, because there are a lot of people out there that greed is their motivation. And when greed is the motivation, all of the other things like protecting the consumers seem to go out the window. And that's not just for corporations, that's for our government, because guess what? They can be influenced. It's called lobbying. And it's been around for a while, and there's some really big bucks that go into lobbying efforts, because we have created some of the biggest corporations that have ever existed on the face of this planet. And they are big, and they just keep getting bigger, and they keep wanting to merge together. Like right now we have Bayer and Monsanto. Are they going to merge together? Well, this big thing that happened in Britain with this Brixton kind of like succeeding from the EU, which, in case those of you that didn't know that, that's the European Union. They succeeded, and in the process of this, it's actually could have some impact on that merger with Bayer and Monsanto, because it is actually bringing the dollar down over the European dollar down, and that could have an influence on it. But actually, there was another Monsanto influence that has been in the middle of all this that I was kind of wondering about, because with the Trans-Pacific Partnership, the TPP, also known as the DARK Act, that we have a great article on our website about that as well under our news section, in case you didn't know. And plus, I just recently put some posts about the TPP, because there's a trans-Canadian company that's suing the United States because our president decided that Keystone Pipeline maybe wasn't such a good idea and just said, no, we're not going to do it. Well, now that company is going to come and try and sue the United States because we decided not to do the Keystone. And just to kind of give you guys a little bit of an idea on what was going on with that whole Keystone Pipeline, that was to bring some of the crudest, dirtiest, thickest, yuckiest oil that you could ever imagine that come from tar sands from these isolated areas out in Canada. And they wanted to bring that tar sands over here for processing in the United States, that tar sands oil. Well, just the fact that we created that oil, we have actually just helped suck some of the life out of the planet for just creating that, because now that it exists, as it's flowing through this pipeline or whatever, it's destroying our atmosphere. So I think that was a pretty good decision on the Keystone, because we need to be more forward looking. Is putting billions of dollars into something that is bringing tar sand, grossed out, carbon inducing into our air, adding to global warming product to the United States for processing. I mean, what kind of forward thinking is that? Instead, we need to be thinking, how are we going to be completely away from oil as soon as possible and turning to green energy like other countries are figuring out around the world? Are we going to be the last, doing this stuff, or are we going to be the first? And hanging on to things like, this fracking and the tar sands. And fracking, just FYI, those of you that detest fracking, well, first of all, one of the resources that I wanted to tell you guys about that is new and available over on the ecowatch.com website is an interactive map that shows where toxic air pollution from oil and gas industry is threatening 12.4 million Americans. So they now have a map that you can go and look at and see if you're living right, with that in your backyard. So it's kind of nice to know because again, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, what we are trying to do is to help you to become informed consumers. And that means where you live and the environment that you choose to live in and raise your family, because those are big influencers on your risk for different diseases. And a perfect example is one very disturbing article on Brazil that I was reading, and this is the one of the places where we are using major pesticides over in Brazil. Apparently, there's not too many laws over there, and people think things like DDT, oh, that's gone off the planet. We don't use that anymore. That is not the case. It is outlawed in the United States, but that does not mean that it's still not being made in the world and used in the world, because it is. And it can be on imported fruit that you could be eating. So, don't believe that either. So in case you were thinking that, don't believe it. Well, these pictures from what's going on there over in Brazil are just extremely disturbing. They had, here I am right here. In photos, Argentine villagers blame pesticide spraying for serious health problems. But, Brazil, Argentina, Chile, all of them are heavily involved in using a lot of pesticides, GMO technology, and Chile is one of the worst for farm salmon because salmon isn't even indigenous to Chile whatsoever, and they've created huge dead zones in the ocean off the shores of Chile from farm salmon and marine harvest. And I recently on my Twitter, I posted a picture from Dr. Alex Morton, who is a hero in my book for all the work she has done exposing various viruses that are on farm salmon. The fish does not die from these viruses because they harvest it young. But if you look, you can see even whole salmon that's in the store will have even sores on it. And that's the beginning stages of these diseases. If they let those fish continue to grow and mature, they would die. And so these farm salmon are pretty much breeding multiple viruses in these containment cages that they have, and they position them right in the river where wild salmon have to swim right past them, literally inches from these cages that are breeding all of these different viruses. And Dr. Morton actually tested Costco farm salmon, and it can send it to Finland, which is like the number one testing facility in the world for farm salmon, and found positive tests for multiple viruses. Well, I have some bad news. Unfortunately, Dr. Morton has also identified a new virus that is infecting our wild salmon as a result of being created in these farm salmon pens, and it could literally wipe out our entire wild salmon population. I do want to congratulate the state of California for the first time in history making a decision to take down. That's right. They're going to blow them up. They're going to blow up 3 dams. And they're doing it in the name of creating a better environment for the wild salmon and other wildlife that are dependent on that. And I think that's pretty freaking awesome. But please never, ever, ever eat farm salmon. If you knew what I knew, you would just like, ugh, no, I don't think so. Okay. We were talking about lies that our government is telling us. I have some other lies here for you. As a dietitian, I never would buy into the whole thing. The yolk is evil and bad for you on an egg. Never, ever one time told people not to eat an egg yolk as a dietitian, even though they made me believe that in school. And I had to answer questions where I acted like I believed that. But I never believed that the yolk of the egg was bad, because the egg is actually perfect. And the egg yolk is very, very important to prevent night blindness and for eye health and cataract prevention. It has some incredible antioxidants in there. And I get mine from my local farmer at the farmer's market, where, you know, if I don't understand why everybody is not shopping at the farmer's market. Oh my gosh. It is like the greatest experience. You can bring your kids. It's fun. It's a surprise. I feel like I'm going on a treasure hunt because I never know what the farmers are going to bring. And it's usually always delicious. I can't even remember something that I have not liked that I have purchased from the farmer's market. The freshest, organic. And I am telling you, I have had long conversations with some of the farmers from my farmer's market, or I've had them on our radio show. And these people are not getting rich, okay? They're doing what they're doing because they care about us. They care about families. They care about us getting food that we can trust and is healthy. And if you go to eatlocalgrown.com, you can put your zip code in. It will tell you where farms are, where farmers markets are. You can buy direct from a farmer. Cut out the middleman, cut out the retail, cut out the distributor, cut out the broker. Do you know how much that lowers your price? And if you do that, because half your plate's supposed to be fruits and vegetables, everybody. And if you're like eating your dinner and you're looking at your plate and half of that plate isn't full of vegetables, mostly with a little bit of fruit maybe for dessert kind of a thing, you're doing something wrong. And the other half of the plate should look like real food, not something out of a box, not something highly processed, good source of protein, a little bit of grains maybe. And I actually have a product here by Lundberg Farms, and they have been around like 3 generations, since something like 1937, when they first started the company over in Northern California. And when all these other rice farmers were burning their fields and creating all this air pollution, Lundberg Farms refused to burn the fields. They didn't see any benefit in that. And now it is pretty much not a practice whatsoever. So they were leaders in that. And, just doing things like finding ways to use less water. There's another company, Lotus Foods, that also makes rice, that they travel all over the world, but they are helping farms. You know, you think of a rice paddy flooded with water. Well, you don't have to grow rice with all that water, and we have droughts all over the place. So this kind of farming is critical for our future, as is organic farming. And I tell you, when I look at these, I tell you, everyone, I am looking out for us. I am looking out for our families. I'm not just looking out for us for right now. I'm looking out for us 20 years from now. I'm looking out for our children, our children's children. This is what I think about all the time. And this is what you need to think about. We're just doing this instant gratification, just buying stuff off the store shelf. And really, we know nothing about it. We need to know about these companies because we're actually making them bigger and more powerful when we give them our dollars, even though, hey, something may cost $1.50 or whatever, but I'm telling you that adds up and is making these companies want to control us. With all their money and power and greed, all they can think of is more power, more control. And that's why I'm really encouraging everyone to look up the seed law. It's 2470, AB 2470 for California. They want to take away our right to share seeds. If we exchange heirloom seeds between friends, it'll be against the law. We will not be able to start seed companies up with private money. And these biotech companies have pretty much bought every seed company they could get their hands on. And that is why right now we are experiencing a shortage of organic seeds. And the reason is because the organic business is booming. That's right. It went up like $4.2 billion increase in organic product sales last year. So now last year's total was $43.3 billion. And believe me, these conventional companies are now starting to salivate. They're like, yeah, we want some of that. So what do companies like General Mills do? They buy their way into the organic market. They buy companies that are already successful, started by people with a good heart that were in it for the right reasons, just to say, oh, we own this share of the organic market. Well, you bought your way in. You know, you never proved that it was in your heart to sell organic. That's why every time you tried, you failed. And so Annie's, off my list. I have no desire to buy Annie's or support that company anymore. It's now owned by General Mills. I'm very discouraged in Organic Valley as well, partnering up with General Mills. I understand their motivation. But some of these companies have also been showing to not have, be making such great suggestions and have a somewhat negative influence over the deciding those making decisions. Now, a lot of people say, oh, well, organic, I can't trust it. And you know what? I'm really glad that you're approaching things with that skepticism because, again, that was something I recommended earlier in the show, not to trust anything. And the reason is people like Gary Hershire, who come from Stonyfield, these people can be bought, okay? And people that like Smuckers, Smuckers has bought several organic companies, including Santa Cruz Juice, Knutson's Juice. And so they have tried to influence the Organic Trade Association to dilute rules that kept organic pure and kept it up to high set of standards. Now, what is happening right now, there were a couple things. Okay, I got Di over there because Di, that one song about the party I told you about. We got to play that here because we got a celebration, everyone. See, we're not all doom and gloom around here. And Di's going to give us some little... that's right, we're having a good time here, everyone. Yeah, we're celebrating right here at Smart Health Talk. Why? Because we won big in court. Yeah. The people, that's us, all right? The people. We won big in court, everyone, because there was a court case decided this week, and they were trying to dilute the organic standard by allowing pesticides in organic fertilizer. Now, of course, this is not for the benefit of anyone but the people selling that fertilizer. And I tell you, I am so thrilled about that because the USDA was trying to use their government muscle to sabotage what the people, the committee behind the organic standards. There are real people like us on a committee that make these decisions, and they had from the very beginning said, no friggin' way. Well, the USDA came in and says, oh, I don't care what the people say. our government influence and all those lobbying dollars that are influencing us are saying, no, we are going to sabotage and dilute those standards. Well, the USDA tried to do that and pull a fast one on the people that are behind the Organic Standards Board, and they lost. The judge saw right through it. So I just want to thank that judge. Thank you for doing that. And wait, let's see if I have... okay, U.S. Magistrate Judge Jacqueline Scott Corley. Thank you. Thank you, Judge Corley. You were friggin' awesome in my book for seeing through that and not allowing that to happen or destroying the integrity of the organic program and allowing the government to supersede the decisions of the people, the committee behind the organic standards. So that is a big win. Now, unfortunately, along with our win, and we have a loss. And the loss that happened in court this past week was that there are hundreds of secret ingredients in pesticides, herbicides, all of these poisons sold on the shelf. All you see is the active ingredient. With Roundup, it's glyphosate. Well, guess what? There are actually hundreds of other ingredients, chemicals in there that are even more toxic than glyphosate that are secret and do not have to be listed on the label. We are kept from knowing that information. And what really is crazy is that sometimes those secret ingredients are actually active ingredients in other products. So why would it be mandatory to be listed on one product and yet another product, it could be secret? And so unfortunately in court, that judge said that they could still keep all that stuff secret from us. So what that tells me is just like, quit using it. That's right. We don't have to use this. So I decided I'm starting in my own backyard because I went and met with the people at Loma Linda University, which is one of the biggest employers, definitely biggest employer for the city of Loma Linda. And they are spraying Roundup, and they own facilities all around my house, all around the city, and they're spraying Roundup on all of them. Well, not just them, but then I started talking to some of the landscapers that were working on my street. And they all 100% said, yes, we use Roundup. Well, I mean, I'm concerned about their health. They're being exposed to this even more than me. But, you know, it's very hard talking to them. They're very defensive on what they're doing. And they keep saying, well, if the government is allowing it to be on the shelf and be sold, then it must be safe. But yet the World Health Organization, when they looked at the glyphosate active ingredient, plus those other hundreds of chemicals that they don't have to tell us, they made the decision that it was actually cancer causing. And see, that's the thing. You know, we hear about these studies and they're half truths. They're usually almost, I would say 99% of the time in favor of that biotech pesticide company. Well, we had Ask the Bugman. You can go to askthebugman.com. And he was in charge of a whole city and didn't use one drop of pesticides. He'd just go down to Walmart and buy some vinegar and put that on the weeds. You know, there are so many other options that we don't have to do this. And I want to live in a city where it is a pesticide-free city because I have monarchs now in my yard breeding, trying to make more monarchs. I have butterflies, I have bees, I have birds. And if you go look at some of my posts on YouTube and my Instagram, you can see I just posted one from my garden. You can just hear all the birds and all that. And the thought of like spraying all these pesticides for the Asian citrus psyllid, which they want to spray our area right here in San Bernardino. And they don't tell you in the letter that they sent you. First of all, they send a letter to people. Well, it's like 2% of the people actually open the letter, and they're all acting like they told everybody. about this spraying. And then in that letter that came to my house, it did not tell me that I had the option to opt out. It wasn't until I called the phone number and talked to the California Department of Food and Agriculture operator that I had the option to opt out. So all of you that don't want the government coming in your yard to spray citrus trees for the Asian citrus psyllid, you can call 800-491-1899. That's 800-491-1899. Or you could just type in Asian citrus psyllid, if you can actually remember that. But it's the California Department of Food and Agriculture. And you can call and tell them that you do not want them to come onto your property and apply a pesticide that we know it has warnings on the label that says if this gets into the gutter, to call them immediately because of a sprinkler that's going after they sprayed. Now, really, are they going to control that? I don't think so. And that pesticide is so bad. It attacks fish and invertebrates. It's extremely harmful getting into our water supply. And yet they're freely spraying this stuff. And I have all these reports back from people that after they sprayed, the bees disappeared. The butterflies disappeared. Now, when you've got an organic garden, you don't want any pesticides around, and you need the bees. Okay. And it's not just the average, home gardener out there, although homeowners are some of the biggest abusers of pesticides because they're pushing it on us. I tell you, I am so sick and tired of Lowe's, Home Depot, and Ace Hardware pushing us to buy Roundup, even after the World Health Organization came out that it was cancer causing. And I wasn't satisfied with that. Let me tell you, I'm watching out for you guys. I did not just take that one study. I actually called the American Cancer Society, and I had one of their top scientists. You can find this on our homepage, smarthealthtalk.com. And he agreed with the World Health Organization. It should be on the Prop 65 list of things that are cancer causing and you should avoid. And Roundup is one of them. So the way you can do that, if you just type in, or you can go to our YouTube under pesticides, or you can type in YouTube Swedish Family Pesticides. And they took a family and they tested their urine. They were on conventional products, and there was multiple pesticides at extremely high levels in all of them. And once they went to organic, the pesticides pretty much went to zero. So they can say whatever they want about this pesticide or that pesticide. Bottom line, when you eat organic, you're not getting exposed to all of these multiple toxic pesticides. And if you haven't heard, autism off the charts. I've got a list of about 15, 20 diseases that have risen exactly with the amount of glyphosate, Roundup being used in our environment. The charts just like you lay them over and they match perfectly. So we know that there's a problem here. So that's why I'm trying to help you figure out how you can afford it and get these pesticides out of your life. You don't need them. I mean, I ate a grass-fed burger the other day, organic grass-fed burger, and had all the good stuff from the farmer's market and that on there, some organic cheese, organic bun, and it was absolutely fantastic. It's like, you don't need to be eating all these fast foods, and you're going to save so much money. You can afford to eat organic. And if you're focusing on organic vegetables from your garden or the farmer's market, that's half your plate. Try to have more meatless meals. Include things like beans more often. Beans are fantastic. If you like tofu, I'm not too into it myself. But, if that's something you like, then go for it. But please don't buy conventional fake meat. It is full of GMOs and pesticides. And we live, Loma Linda, Seventh-day Adventists, as part of their religion, say we're not going to eat meat. Yet they eat these meat substitutes, and they're full of GMOs and pesticides, and I just really don't get it. Soy, that's like 100% GMO. And I don't believe in drinking soy milk either. I don't believe in drinking the almond milk. And people are drinking these milks, and if it's conventional, forget it. There'd be no friggin' way I would ever recommend it. The soy, we don't need. We're taking in way too much soy. We just look at the Asians who have been using soy for hundreds of years. Pretty much the only way that they eat it is if it has been fermented, it has gone through all of this fermentation stage, and that is because there are things like different chemicals in soy that replicate hormones, and that is why it can contribute to something like breast cancer. But these kind of things change when they ferment the product, and that's why soy sauce, tempeh, these different things that we have with soy have all been fermented. Okay, and almonds uses more water than any other crop, and they spray a lot on almonds. There is no way I'm eating a conventional nut. They expose it to radiation. They expose it to steam because they gotta kill any little buggies that might be on there. But let me tell you, if you would see another resource that I wanted to tell you about that I found that a lot of people are really interested in is over in North Carolina. There is a new interactive website that gives people the information on where all of these factory farms are. And I went over and looked through the different links that they had on this interactive site. And what do I see? It actually shows you the aerial view of the factory farms. And every single factory farm looks the same. It is nothing but enclosed warehouses with a giant pool of wet excrement from the thousands of pigs that they keep inside these warehouses. So the pigs and the chickens never see the light of day. They're just confined in a warehouse, and they are creating literally billions of gallons of this wet excrement in North Carolina alone. There are literally thousands of different farms there, and I've said this over and over again. We just had another recall for Listeria on frozen vegetables, and we have food safety is a major issue, and the amount of food. I mean, I talked to one food service director from Cook County over in Las Vegas, one of the biggest school districts of all, and they took several million pounds of meat to the dump. They had to be escorted there to just dump this meat. And then you think about everything that went into every pound of that meat, that they water, food, that they had to feed all those cows, and the fact that they gave their life. And then it's all just ending up in the landfill because of some contamination. Well, you don't think that having, thousands of these pools full of excrement from factory farms where they're fed all these GMOs and antibiotics and creating antibiotic-resistant bacteria in these facilities, and then most of these are close to a body of water. So all you need is a heavy rain. Here, North Carolina, here comes a tornado or whatever, a hurricane coming up the coast there. Well, where does that stuff end up? In the river. And then that water is used to irrigate other crops. So you see where this is a chain that we have created in our food system that is just so wrong. And do we really want to eat meat that's raised like that? I don't. I personally don't want it. I don't see It's cruel. It's inhumane. It doesn't taste the same. I get mine from the farmer's market. I actually have a farmer that I buy from that sells meat where they have raised the pig themselves. And I tell you, it tastes completely different. It is, it's like 10 billion gallons a year is being produced just over in North Carolina. So they do have a new interactive website where you can actually see all of them. They got them all on there, and they're trying to really go after this. Now, something that is really big with people is inflammation. And all the things that I'm telling you right now, inflammation can be the cause of almost every disease. So remember, I'm your personal dietitian here, and I'm telling you, inflammation is not your friend. And most of these foods you're choosing, they are actually creating inflammation. I'm big into kombucha. I make it myself. And I took some tart black cherry juice, which I bought from Lakewood Juices. Pretty sure it's Lakewood. I know it has lake in it. Not the other juices owned by Smuckers. And a lot of athletes use that tart cherry juice because it is so anti-inflammatory. And you might want to incorporate that into your daily diet. Highly recommend it, or buy organic, of course. And you can add that as a flavoring to your kombucha. I have that on my Instagram, so if you go check that out. Let's see, what were some of the other big lies that were in the news. Now, this is actually kind of a headliner, everyone, so listen up. How many of you out there know someone that's on a statin drug? Okay, I bet I would have most everyone out there that's listening to this show right now be raising their hands saying, yeah, I know someone, or you're on it yourself. They push those drugs, boy. They push them. They want every patient on a statin drug. Well, remember I told you the lie about the egg? That wasn't true. They lied about milk, trying to say that non-fat milk. Well, this is like 2.5 years ago, Smart Health Talk reported with Dr. Charles Benbrook, who did research and found that organic whole milk was better for preventing heart disease than conventional low fat. Oh, well, guess what? Now they have actually caught up with Dr. Benbrook and are coming out, but now they're saying, oh, conventional whole milk is better for you than non-fat. This was a huge lie by the dairy industry, and then they created research to support their claims that non-fat, that milk fat raises your cholesterol, it's so bad. That egg yolk raises your cholesterol, it's so bad. Well, guess what? All of that is a lie. And they just came out with something that verified what we talked about on Smart Health Talk back in February with Dr. Stephanie Senna from MIT. This is all on our YouTube. It is our most popular video by far. Everyone loves what she has to say. And in that video, we go over statins and why statins are so bad. And Dr. Senna explained that, first of all, we have studies with 65,000 people. She quoted this study, and it's just now making the news in February, where they looked at like 65,000 elderly people. And guess who died first? The people with the lowest LDL. The one they keep telling you have to take the statin because, oh my gosh, if you have a high LDL, you're going to drop dead. And they literally, in the doctor's office, try to scare you and tell you that you give you some sort of printout that says, oh, you have 2 years to live. I could not believe it. And all of that was to push you into getting on the friggin' statin drug, which we now have research that is saying that it actually causes dementia and Alzheimer's, and all cholesterol is part of every cell of your body. When you go around blocking it, and your brain is like needs lots of cholesterol because it's a fatty tissue, that maybe you might be blocking some of the wrong things there, and it might have a little side effect like, oh, your brain goes, you can't remember things anymore. No, thank you. I'm glad not one of them statin drugs have passed my lips. I'll tell you that. And I am sure I'm glad that I never would agree to that. Well, in this study, the people that had the lowest LDL, the one that's supposed to be so bad for you, are the ones that died first. And the people that had the highest LDL lived the longest. So there. Talk about the big lie. You know, and how many people have they had on these statin drugs, and how many people have died as a result? That's what I would like to know. I tell you, there are so many ways that these companies are hijacking the American citizen dollars. It is unfriggin' believable. On my homepage, I have a pie chart that shows where the billions in the Farm Bill go. And I tell you, a huge percentage there is going not to just dairy and meat, but GMO corn and, you know, these drugs like insulin, because we have an epidemic of diabetes right now. The drug companies are loving it. They are raking in the bucks. They're raking in bucks on drugs like statin drugs and insulin, which they sell for $35,000 a gallon. But how do they make that insulin? Well, they make it with GMO bacteria that excrete a chemical that they refine into insulin. But they must feed that bacteria. So what do they feed it? GMO cornstarch that's subsidized by the American people. So they are able to make that insulin for a great profit margin because the cost of that GMO cornstarch was subsidized and therefore cheaper. Okay, that's just one example. It's also, they use it for citric acid, which has nothing to do with oranges. And, you know, all this GMO bacteria, they have to feed it. And they're using it for all kinds of drugs. So this is what is going on with our food dollars. Now, they have new technology. I was very upset to find out that Monsanto has been feeding hundreds of beehives with some sort of concoction that they have made up. They call it the PPO technology or something. But they have been feeding all these beehives with some Monsanto product that is supposed to protect them from some mite that was probably caused by Monsanto to begin with. They are definitely wanting to create their own super bees, their own GMO insects. They actually want to inoculate us with vaccines with aerial spraying. Oh, forget having to go to the doctor and get a shot. Let's just spray the vaccine with a plane and just get everyone that way. This is all the kind of thinking of a company that has no boundaries, that feels like they own our government and can do whatever they want to the people and tell us what we can and cannot eat, pass seed laws in California restricting us even be able to grow our own heirloom type, crops in our own yard, coming and forcing us to be sprayed with pesticide and on and on and on. Now, Di, didn't we have a nice clip there about we're worth it? Because I want, as your personal dietitian right here, Elaine McFadden. That's right. Play it, Di. I want to let you guys know that you are worth it. You are worth organic food. We are spending less on food than any time in history, less on the percentage of our total income. Yes, you can afford organic. People could afford food where they paid more of their total percentage of income, way more than any other time in history. And yet we're sitting around whining that we can't afford. Well, look at what you are buying, because most of what you're buying is probably junk stuff. And I told you, if half your plate is not fruits and vegetables, then you're doing something wrong there. And the other half should be real good quality proteins. Now, I mentioned Lundgren Farms. They have this incredible organic risotto, cheddar and peppers. And like when you take a product like this, pump it up with as much fresh vegetables as you can. I take a mix like this and I add all kinds of peas, fresh peppers, onions, carrots. You can shred your carrots with a grater and fit those in there, and you make a rice dish, but you pack it full of vegetables. And this is great because it is nice and fast, and it isn't really that expensive, but you can take and pump it up with more vegetables, because that's the whole idea. The more vegetables you're eating, the less risk of disease, bottom line. Okay, what other great recommendation do we have here for you on Smart Health Talk? Is an incredible product. This is another one by Lundgren Farms, because they grow rice and other great things. Well, rice cakes, most of us think, ugh, blah, blah, blah. Well, they have taken a rice cake and coated it with dark chocolate. I tell you, that is a great way to start with a rice cake. And I have made some. You can see them on my Instagram. I put some blueberries on there. You can make smiley faces. You can do strawberries. You can turn this into put some peanut butter on there, some raw cashew butter by Artisana. These are just so much fun. And for parties, to have nice little snacks for kids or adults. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, here is my very favorite hand wash of all time. This is called Foam Soap Hand and Body Vanilla Orange by Plant Life. Plant Life is the brand. It's organic. This vanilla orange flavor is just so yummy. I want everything to smell like this vanilla orange flavor, and it's an all organic foam soap. You get a lot in the bottle. When it suds up, it really does a good job of cleaning your hands. Plant Life. Go check out that company. They have fantastic products. I'm sure this is just one of many that they have. Okay. Then I have, for those of you into beauty, I have BioCap, and that's BIOKAP, and this is a coloring. And a lot of people are sensitive to some of these chemicals in hair colors too. And this one is completely safe. And it will make your hair, for those of you with damaged hair, if you use their hair color, I guarantee your hair will be better than when you started. I think they might put some henna products or something in there, but my hair felt fantastic after I used BIOKAP, and that's part of the Bios line. Great people from that company too. I met them in person. For soap, dish soap, I've tried a lot of different dish soap. I'm really into the kind, I can't stand Dawn whatsoever. I don't want my food or my dishes smelling like perfume, and that is a phytate. It is a synthetic fragrance. It is a hormone disruptor. You need to get rid of all these fake fragrances out of there. They are in every kind of product you can imagine, from body soap to body lotion to shampoo, conditioner, laundry soap, fabric softener, all that. They're all hormone disruptors. This Planet, free and clear, doesn't have any scent to it. This stuff is friggin' fantastic. I have tried other soaps. This, you put one little tiny drop and you get all kinds of suds for a long time. You can clean a lot of dishes with just a little bit. So it's a little bit more expense, but you're getting no phytates. It's good for the environment, and it's a super long laster. So please check out that. Okay, and here's another product that's literally changing my life. It's called Essential Oxygen is the brand. It's brushing rinse. It's all organic. It has hydrogen peroxide and these other extracts in there. For those of you suffering with gum disease, which can actually lead to a heart attack, if you look under our resources page, I have a great web page on what to do in case of a heart attack. I looked through other people's pages. No one had a good page to help you with that. I created one myself because that's our number one killer. I wanted people to know what to do. And you can find that along with all kinds of other things on recycling and great snacks, organic snacks, all kinds of stuff under our resources section on smarthealthtalk.com. This brushing rinse is absolutely fantastic. And oh gosh, I wasn't able to get to all of my great products right here. Birch Benders, I actually have a song about pancakes that I did, showing all these different ways that I made their pancakes. Absolutely delicious. Mix, everybody. Belvas, Belvas, Belgian chocolate like you would not believe. Oh my gosh, every single product that they make is absolutely fantastic. A great company called Fuel Snacks, Foodie Fuel, absolutely fantastic. That's another organic. So go check out all these. You know, we have all this kind of information on our website and social media, and I hope you learned something today from all this stuff that we told you about, and you're going to check it out yourself, and you're going to tune in next Tuesday at 1 o'clock for Smart Health Talk. And go find all our podcasts on kcaaradio.com, okay? Because we got lots of other podcasts you can listen to while you're cleaning or whatever. And thanks for tuning in, everyone. All right, stay tuned because we got lots more great programming right here on KCAA. And thanks so much for all your help today, Di, our engineer right here at KCAA.
Be sure to visit our website at smarthealthtalk.com.
KCAA. I say y'all having a good time.
You're listening to KCAA, Loma Linda, California.
Today's gains, with investors swooping in to buy up beaten-down shares, only recouped about a third of the losses over the past two sessions after UK voted to leave the European Union. The U.S. economy grew at a better-than-forecast rate of 1.1% in the first 3 months of this year. Even